due to the fact that I actually don't have the Swiss cheese due to it being like a weird week, I actually have even better of a cheese, which is a Spanish cheese called Manchego. Very tasty. So I'm going to go and break that in. Okay, it's pretty good. This is part of the pasta because you need cheese to make mac and cheese. So there's 4 cheeses in here. Okay, I have. Yes, you will. Okay, so I have around 1/3 of a cup of Manchego cheese. All right, and it goes. Parmesan cheese. Okay, and I'll let you see how much I'm going to grate in. That's why I didn't grate it in there. I'll let you in my secrets because, and that's the thing about recipes is that a lot of people think, oh, it's just recipe. No, no, no. Chefs actually take their time to go and create their recipes so that it becomes their own. So that's why when I say you need to create your own, is to not plagiarize it because that's taking someone's work. Okay? So the secret to mine is that we actually add a little bit of blue cheese. I hate blue cheese, but it makes a huge difference. Just a very, very small knob of it, and trust me, like it's strong. So I'm going to put a little knob of that. Okay? I don't like blue cheese, but it is necessary in here. I'm going to go and now put in my Parmesan cheese. Okay, now you gotta get the good stuff. All right, you can't just get the pre-grated ones. That's just ruining the whole dish. You gotta get the good stuff. You know, this thing you can buy at Costco for $30, and it is actually regular Parmesan Reggiano. It's 2-year-old cheese. It lasts for a long, long time, and especially you can put it in the freezer. But you just grate it like this. It makes a huge difference. Okay, and we talked about that for our Caesar salad. So. You know, it's worth buying, and to me, it lasts me 6 months plus more. Okay. Right? And this is the only cheese I use. So I actually grate around 2 to 3 tablespoons of it. All right. So you've seen how much I've added, right? Of everything. Okay. So that's the ratio that you will be having for your cheese. Okay. A little bit of blue cheese, a couple tablespoons of your Parmesan cheese, a 1/4 cup worth around there of Swiss cheese. And then mayonnaise cheddar cheese. Old, please. Old is good. Because old has flavor. Okay, so while that happens, I got my bechamel and everything, mise en place ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my other half of my stuff ready to go, which is my relish. Okay, so I'll get all my cuts done before I even get started. So I first start off by getting my garlic, okay? And you could do this in advance or whatever, but there's 2 ways you could do it. You can hache, and you could hache it as really, really, really small, or else a quicker way and makes it less harsh of a taste is to grate it. So we'll be grating our garlic, okay? So I'll have it ready. I also am going to take my shallot, okay, which is a cousin of an onion and a garlic. So it's kind of like the onion and garlic had a baby, and then I became a shallot. It's mild, and it's best for sauces. It is 4 times as expensive, so it's actually more than that. An onion costs 49 cents a pound. This costs $3.99 a pound, or up to $3 a pound, okay? So you can imagine that you don't want to waste this. It's quite a lot of money. So I actually peel this, and I'm going to show you how to brunoise this. It's just like dicing an onion, okay, which I'll be showing you later on too. But basically, how you dice it is you're going to go and take your small knives, because small knives do small things. You're going to go and go across parallel and make really small lines, okay? As the more lines you can make, the smaller it gets, which is better. Okay, so I'm going straight parallel lines across, but I'm not cutting fully through. And then I go straight up and down. Okay, and I make really small lines once again. The smaller the lines, the better it is. Okay, so I shouldn't be seeing lots of just cutting it 3-4 times. Like I cut this around 10 times already from one side to the other. and I go all the way from one end to the other, and I don't cut fully through. So now I have like an accordion, like almost like a flower. Okay? Once you have that, you're going to take the big knife, and you're going to go and point, and you follow through from the part that's cut all the way to the end, and it should be a dice. Alright? And how do you make a dice? Just remember that it's even on all sides. Okay? So if you have a certain length going this way, and then you have to have a certain length going this way. And then when you cut this way, same thing. Okay? So once you get to the point where you can't cut anymore, you don't want to waste your shallots. I'm going to keep it, and we put it into our chicken stock. Okay? So that will be for our chicken stock. Here. So I have my shallots ready to go. And just to make more room, I'm just going to go and put my, oh, wrong pot. This pot. Okay. So I'm going to put my shallots ready to go in here. I'm going to go and cut my, they're really, really tiny, so I don't want it any bigger than that, okay? If you can make it smaller, great, okay? But it's called a brunoise shallots. Brunoise just means really, really small dice, okay? If you could make it so it's a dice, that's great. That means you get a 3 for your cuts. So aim for that. Your parsley we're going to use, we're going to go and cut it into a hachée. So you want only leaves. The stems you're going to keep for stock again. So I'll be collecting that on that day. And you're just going to go and cut through, okay? And try not to bruise so don't squish it because you're going to bruise it. But you just naturally cut and let the knife do the work and just cut through. Okay? While this happens, you notice I'm trying to boil my, I'm boiling this up, right? There's a reason for it. Because I'm going to go and make my seeded and diced tomato, my concassé. So I got my parsley ready to go. Okay. And it's just going to brighten things up, give it a fresh taste to it. Same thing, take my, notice how I'm actually doing my board is actually not too good too. But notice that my board is always clean. I always like wipe it after I continue on. Okay, so I have all that. And then now I'm going to go and see that the water's boiling. I have some ice water. And this is how you're going to go and make your concassé. Usually I use Roma tomatoes, but they're really, really bad this time. So that's why you just have to change. You always pick the best one, right? So I just picked like hothouse tomato. Once it's boiled, I want to go and add salt. Okay? This is also my pasta water, so I want to make it salty like a sea. Quite a lot. Okay? So I'm going to make an X on the bottom. And I'm not cutting right in, I'm just making a little mark on the bottom. This is going to help it so it peels. And it goes completely. And I have some ice water. Should be more separated. So we'll have to leave it as is. And I'm not cooking my tomato. I just want to make it so that the skin will come off. This actually works very well with like any type of stone fruit, like peaches. If you want to poach peaches and you want to take the skin off, this is how I do it. Nectarines, plums, I do the same thing. Okay. So once I got this, I want to go and take a look that I can actually take my finger at the X and I'm going to easily peel from one end to the other. Okay? Do you see that it's naturally easy to peel? If I'm able to peel it, I'm going to go and dump it right into my water and I'm going to completely cool it down. If it's not completely submerged, I need to add more water until it's completely submerged. What I'm doing is I'm shocking the tomato. Now while I'm doing that, my partner, I see that there's water boiling. Here's the do's and don'ts for pasta. Okay? So write down a column for do's and don'ts. Do nots when you're doing pasta. Do not add pasta to, do not add pasta if the water's not boiling. That's number one. Okay? When you're cooking pasta, You want lots of water, so that's a do. Lots of water, lots of salt. Now, I'm not saying to dump the whole bunch of salt, but you want it to, when you taste the water, it should be a little salty. Okay? 2, do not add oil to the pasta water. Do not add oil to the pasta water. You don't need it. Okay? Do stir the pasta often. Okay? Do not rinse the pasta in cold water after. Do not rinse. You do not rinse pasta under cold water. That's a big no. Okay? That's not what Italians do. That's you're rinsing out the starch and you're rinsing out the sauce. Okay? You do, once your pasta's cooked, cool it on a tray with a little bit of oil. You do. So the things I'm doing, you do, and then there's things you don't. Right? You don't rinse under cold water. You do not go and add oil. Okay, there's no need for that. So as long as the water's as long as the water is like fully boiling, I'm just gonna go and add it all in. Okay, and I'm just gonna go and give it a good stir right away. And I'm gonna try to do my best to bring it back to a boil right away. The agitation of the water on the pasta is just gonna help it so it doesn't clump. So you don't need oil. You're wasting your oil. The oil does nothing. It doesn't help it at all. So why are you wasting your oil? It's just naturally you stirring. Like, so once you put in pasta, make sure it's all in. So if it's spaghetti, same thing. And you just stir it and just agitate it so that it separates. Once it boils, it will not clump together. Okay? So I have that ready to go. Ooh, this is why I don't like wearing this thing. Okay, so while this happens, I'm gonna go and get all my stuff ready to go. I have a tray. Okay? My tray is all ready. And I'm gonna go and have it ready to go for putting all my stuff out. I have my colander, or you can have your sifter, which is over there, you can use. I'm gonna have it ready to go in the sink. Okay? So it's all ready to go. I am now going to go and take my tomato because it's super cold now, and I'm going to go show you how to de-skin and de-seed and all right. Okay, all this stuff away. Notice that I'm always stacking. Okay, that's another trick of making sure you're organized. Okay, and I'm going to go and take my small knife, and I'm going to peel my skin of my tomato. Really easy to peel off if you actually blanch it with the X. Okay? So easy, and it's smooth. And I'm not taking chunks of the meat off, because if you do take chunks of the meat off, that just means that you have overcooked your tomato, and you don't want that. You just want it to be able to peel this. And if you are doing peaches in the summer, nectarines, plums, it will do exactly the same thing. So I got mine ready to go. I don't need this, so I'm putting it into my waste bin. And then the second thing you're going to do is take it into quarters. Okay. All right. And you're now going to de-seed it. So you're going to go and take your knife, and you're just wiggling it back and forth until you can get off this part. Okay? Do not waste this part. This part is actually very good for either stock, or you can put it into your next dish, which is your tomato sauce. Okay? So we're going to be saving a lot of things. A lot of things you don't have to waste. Just peels and stuff like that. But other than that, you can use it all. Again. So these are called, what we call in a restaurant is tomato petals. Okay? Once you have that, now it's de-seeded. Now we're going to dice. So it's really easy to dice. I'm just going to go and take it and flip it over. Okay? And notice what I'm doing. I'm actually lining it up. And you might think I'm kind of going nuts, but I'm going to make vertical, I'm going to make parallel lines, okay? Right? And we're going to try to make it small, so make smaller dice. Okay, and same thing, you're going to try to make it so that it's a square. So square is even on all sides. All right, so just visualize, if it's this thick this way, you have to have it this thick this way. Does that make sense? This thick this way, same thing, this thick, right? So that you can make it into a dice. Dice is a square, right? Or cube. So now that I have this all ready to go, I can use my big knife and I just point and I follow through. And I don't have to worry about lining it up because I already did. So it's a lot faster and more efficient. Go ahead. So now I have a diced tomato and you can see it is actually a dice. So now that I have that ready to go, put it in here and I have my relish all ready to get started. Okay. I'm gonna go now, check my pasta. Okay, so and I have everything mise en place ready to go, so you can always prepare all this. I'm going to start by taking my, in my cold pot, I'm going to go and add my butter, and I want to heat it on low, okay? I do not want to burn my butter. It's a white sauce, so you want to not burn it. While this happens, I'm multitasking now, so you guys got to learn to multitask, okay? Give this a stir again. Make sure that it's not clumping together. And you want to cook this until something called al dente. All right, al dente, which I didn't write down. A-L-D-E-N-T-E. Okay, al dente, which means you use more energy, which means that it is healthier for you. Okay, it's because you spend more time doing that. And a lot of times, North Americans especially, overcook their pasta, so then it takes less time to digest, and then therefore it's you don't use as much energy. Okay, but if you cook it al dente to the juice, it's actually better for you. All right, so just to keep that in mind. While this happens, I have my flour ready to go, and I have my milk ready to go. And I'm gonna go and take a whisk, okay? So I melt the butter. Once it's melted, I'm gonna go and stir in my flour all at once. So if you guys can't see in this side now, you should come on over, okay? So that you're able to see. Okay. Once I've got this all ready to go and it's all melted, I'm just going to go and come over here and I'm going to dump all my flour in all at once and I'm going to stir it up. Because it's equal parts, it'll look kind of like a paste. Do you guys see that it looks like a paste? Okay. If you guys could just try to peer in, I'll let you guys do it. And look, I'm still on very low heat. Okay, and I'm at a quite of a low heat. Don't forget my pasta, so I'm just always taking a look. And you always, some people think, oh, you just cook it by time, or you cook it by throwing it against the wall. I don't know if you heard that before, but the best way is to eat it. If you eat it and it tastes like it's chewy but not crunchy, it's done. So mine is done. So I'm just gonna leave this quickly as I finish off my bechamel. So I'm going to go and slowly add a little bit of time my milk. Now as I'm adding my milk, notice I'm adding a little bit at a time and I'm using my whisk to whisk it up. Because you want to be able to whisk out the lumps, okay? If the whisking, all right, is not whisking out the lumps, okay, you got to make sure that you do that, or else you have a lumpy sauce. Okay, and then you keep adding a little bit more each time, okay, and you whisk it again. Oops, sorry. So take the time to do that. Do you notice that this thing is knocking and it's making noises? Well, that's caused by when it's no longer a flat surface. Because do you remember how sometimes we take really hot pans and we add cold water to it? It just warps the pan. So we have to be careful when we do that. We need to let our pans cool, okay? Or else we kind of make our surface is uneven. So I'm going to continue to add now that it's took up the lumps, I'm going to able to add my rest of my milk. Okay. And I'm going to slowly heat it up now. Okay. While this happens, I'm also going to go and add my cream. Okay. Now I'm not going to add all my cream. I'm going to go and leave some to see if I need to add more, depending if it's too thick of a sauce. Okay. I'm going to add some salt. Okay. And I'm going to add a couple drops of Tabasco. That's it. I'm going to go now and take my pasta right away. So I should have done this as soon as possible. It's just I was in the middle of showing you how to make the sauce. Oh, careful. I'm just going to rinse up, make sure that it's all up. And quickly, I place this right onto my tray and then leave it. Okay. Spread out. Nice and thin. And I'm going to go and add a little bit of oil. Okay. It could be olive oil or it could be regular oil. And just a little bit of oil. And you're not making it drenched. You're not like soaking it in oil. You just want a little bit so that it doesn't stick together. And you let it cool as fast as you can. Okay, so you want it really thin, even later. Okay. While this happens, I want everyone to go actually come in and try the. Actually, I'll just do this so that everyone can try the pasta. Okay, so I'll let you pass it around. That should be more than enough for everyone. Okay. So I'll go around this way, and everyone grab one. Okay. And I'm letting it cool down. So this thing is looking pretty good. And I'm gonna go in, it looks like it's pretty flavorful, so I'm gonna, now it looks like it's pretty thick, okay? All right, and it's a little bit runny, so I'm gonna leave it onto the side now.
You want it runny?
You want it slightly kind of like it's just gonna just coat my spoon kind of thing, you know what I mean? You don't want it so that it's so thick that like it looks like glue, if you know what I mean. You want to look a little bit thicker than honey so that, oh, I got it. So when you write lines, you can see it, kind of like what you did with your hollandaise, okay? Does that make sense? Now, I'm not gonna add my cheese yet because my cheese is gonna go and become too, if you add your cheese too early and you bubble it too much, what will happen is that your cheese will end up splitting and then it becomes like curdled cheese, all right? And plus, you actually need to add an egg yolk. And it sounds crazy, but you add an egg yolk, and if you add it too early, it'll make scrambled eggs. The egg yolk is gonna make it really creamy. So I might as well work on my other things that it just doesn't take too long. So I'm gonna start by working on my cassé. And it's extremely easy, and you might laugh because of how fast it is. You can pre-grate your garlic. I'll have it all ready here because it's just me working. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. Okay.
What heat is that, on high heat?
Yeah, I'm having it on medium heat or so. Doesn't matter. As long as you can control your heat, right? So I never know what heat I'm at. I just know that if it's getting too hot, I turn it down. So I'm gonna add my breadcrumbs, save the container. And I'm gonna add my salt, just a little bit. I'm gonna go and add my grated garlic. So I'm gonna go really fast on my microplane. And then I'm just gonna go and take this guy and I just stir it until it becomes a nice golden brown, just like toast. And the thing is, you can pre-make this. You can add like lemon zest to it. I've added chopped herbs of any sort, okay? Try to do this if you could. Just get used to like flipping, okay? Now that it's slightly golden brown, it will continue with the residual heat continue to cook. So I'm just going to let the residual heat do it. See, it's still browning. Okay, now I got a golden brown. I'm going to add my chopped parsley. Just to give it some color and some flavor, natural like flavor. Back into here. And this is my kalse. And you can make this anytime from the beginning of the day or end, and it lasts for days. And it's super tasty because it has this crunchy bit and it smells like garlic and stuff like that. Last one, you're going to be doing your relish, okay, while you're waiting for this to cool. So I'm going to go and add my olive oil once again, okay? And this time I'm going to go and add my shallots, ready to go. And I want to saute my shallots until it becomes not burnt. I don't want it burnt, so keep your control over heat. I want it to go and just kind of like smell quite nice, okay? So it sizzles and it cooks down.
You said don't brown?
You don't want it to brown, you just want it to kind of like smells and it just becomes transparent. All right? So that while this happens, looks like my thing is kind of cooling down, so I'm going to add my cheese. Look at how much cheese there is. And I'm just stirring out to make sure that I'm not stirring it in the heat. I'm stirring it off the heat and letting the residual heat just cook. If you need to have a blast of heat, just blast it a little bit and then turn it off, okay? I got my shallots kind of cooked nice and, transparent now. I'm going to go and add my tomatoes. Instantly when I added my tomatoes, can someone give me the brown sugar, please? That's something I forgot to add. And I'm going to add equal parts, okay? So I'm going to add like a little bit of my brown sugar first. And I'm going to go and add now my sherry vinegar. So equal parts. So if you taste this, it has to be equal parts of sweet and sour. So it shouldn't be more sweet than sour. It shouldn't be more sour than sweet. A little bit of salt, sherry vinegar, okay? So, and I'm going to stir it up. And it should look a little jammy, okay? So I'm going to, now that it's stirred up, I'm going to let it cool down. So there's a couple things. If you want, you can add some garlic once again that's grated. So I kind of grate my garlic in there. Okay. Now that you guys got that going, I'm going to taste everything now. Okay. I have a little bit of parsley left. I'm going to go and add at the end. So stack up. Make sure that everything is ready to wash so that you don't have to waste time. Okay. See, I'm doing this and I'm cleaning as I go. Now that it's done, I'm going to go and crack my lovely egg white. Egg yolk. Okay. And it looks like it's still a little thick. So I'm going to go and add a little bit of milk afterwards if I need to. Okay. So let's leave it in here for now. Sorry. So can I get a little bit of milk? Okay. So now this looks quite jammy. Looks pretty good. So it looks like it's quite thick. Okay. So I basically should be able to like mold it on a spoon. Okay. Thank you. Once that's ready to go, I'm going to go and add a little bit more milk because it's still a little thick. Okay. There you go. You want it so that when you stir it, it's creamy, but it's not like following you around when you stir. Does that kind of make sense? It's not, when you stir it, it actually doesn't run around with you. It's like able to be smooth. All right. Okay. Also, at this point, it's still warm. Okay. And at this point, you're going to go and take it off, and you're going to taste everything now. So I'm going to taste my sauce. Mm. Tasty. put this in. So you put this right in here if you want. It looks quite jammy so everyone can see since it's out of the pot now. Okay. So I have all 4 of them. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your pasta and you're going to add it to the sauce. If you end up adding your sauce to the pasta, what happens if you don't have enough sauce? Now you have the whole dish ruined. So I'm going to add like 3/4 of it and I'm just going to stir. And it looks like it's coated and it looks like there's still a little bit more sauce. Great. I'm going to add a little bit more. You get what I'm saying? I'm kind of like looking at it by eye, and it should be super creamy. Okay, looks like I can add just a little bit more. No more. Even if there's a little bit left, we can always make this into another dish. So we can compile your dish, your pasta. So don't ruin your lovely, mac and cheese. This is enough for 2 to 3 people. So if you have a family of 3, perfect. If not, double this and it'll be great. And the cool thing is that you can always package it and when you heat it up, it tastes exactly the same. So once that's done, you're gonna go and put this right on. See how creamy it is, right? Do you see how creamy it is and not like lumpy or anything? It looks like it's super creamy, okay? That's how it should be. I shouldn't be seeing it like really stuck, okay? And it shouldn't be like, it looked like when I plop it, it can't get off my spoon. It's so creamy that it just falls off my spoon. Okay, like it just coats. So I'm just gonna do one more, and then the rest of you guys can have some. You're gonna go and put some closely right on top because it's gonna create a crunch right on top. Give it some color if anyone needs to see it. Okay, very nice, eh? And then afterwards, you're gonna go and take, if you could, this is a very neat thing that all the restaurants do, it's called quenelle. And you just use 2 spoons. If possible, you want a spoon that actually has a contour like this. And you just take it like so, and you want to spoon it off so that it becomes like a football shape. Okay, quenelle. So your jam or your relish should be able to do this. And that's basically it.